There we go
Hello,
then.
my loves. Welcome to Love, Truth, and Beauty. This is episode, what is it? Oh, it's 392 and my 20th upload on my Conversations with Men series. This is Maria West, and I have with me my unique friend he is the Renaissance man because he plays music. He is a scientist, geologist by formal education. He is a researcher of the occult, the esoteric spirituality of all things under the sun and down under in the depths. Gary Michael Vasey, welcome. How
Thank
are you
you.
doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, not too bad at all. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, and one more thing. He is the author of many books, at least 40 the last time I counted.
50 something.
Of fiction and nonfiction, and a dowser to boot.
Yeah.
Really tuned in to the energy lines of our beautiful planet, and also the energy lines of humanity and non-humans, bots alike. And so, what we're talking about here um, is the outcome of the US election. And I wanted to have you on because you have a unique perspective where you are able to vote in the US elections. You have lived in America, in the former Republic of Texas. Is it
Yeah.
the Republic? I'm not sure. Maybe it is. And also now you're living in Brno, in the Republic of the Czech Republic.
Czech
And
Republic.
so uh, what is your take on this insanity? I mean, I spent a month in the UK during the election, got back in time to these sort of shocking results because I've heard it all. I've heard, just the whole Trump derangement syndrome and then seeing Trump as the all-knowing savior of humanity. And so I'm just like watching this with popcorn and chocolates and pints, just entertained and perplexed, and just a lot of the time saying to myself, what the fuck?
Yeah,
So,
well, well, I mean, I'm not really that interested in politics. I'm certainly interested in freedom,
yes,
freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and anything that restricts or tries to restrict my freedom is persona non grata in my life. And I haven't voted myself in years. I kind of gave up figuring that, what's one vote and it doesn't really matter. The bad guy always seems to win anyway. But this time around, it seemed to me that something bigger was at stake, and it wasn't just two geriatrics, fighting it out for a presidency. It was freedom versus further descent into, well, what was here 30 years ago, communism.
yes,
And it was also, to me, good versus evil, quite honestly. And so I decided, well, I'll vote. I'm a US citizen. I file my taxes every year. So why wouldn't I? So I got on the internet, found out how to do it. And of course, whether I actually did vote or not, I'll never really know because I had to fill out a ballot, I had to put it in a special envelope and fulfill all the rules and then take it to the Czech post office. And they said, "What's this?" And they were mailing it to the UK. I said, "No, no, no, it's the US." So, oh, sorry, sorry. So, who knows if it got to Texas and got counted. I used to live in Montgomery County, which is north of Houston, and I did check. Trump took 88% of the vote, so it didn't really matter. He would have won anyway.
mhm,
And it's not like I particularly. I mean, I don't want to go too far. It's not like I admire Donald Trump or
mhm.
I'm a big Trump supporter. I'm not. I dislike I dislike the way he talks. I dislike his egocentric take on stuff. But you kind of get used to it. And
Yes,
I like the people around him. I liked Robert Kennedy. If, in fact, had it gone to a three-way vote, Robert Kennedy would have gotten my vote. And I like what Robert Kennedy wants to do because plainly America is a sick nation. I told my daughter, just the other evening that if you buy like a fizzy drink in America, it's full of chemicals, full of all numbers,
Indeed.
dyes, and half of which are illegal in the EU because they're poisonous and damage your health. And America is a sick country because of the food that it eats. And it's definitely something to do with big food, big pharma, taking over from big tobacco and infiltrating all of the government agencies to the point where, you go from FDA to a big job with a food company or vice versa. So Robert Kennedy was my favorite. Although again, I'm not that interested in politics. I used to be when I was younger, but I used to be in the Students' Union at Aston University, and I was very much a British patriot, very much right of centre as a working class kid, and
Mhm.
extremely unpopular with the majority of socialist young students.
Oh, I bet. And we're in the
And
same age group. So during then, the whole progressive,
yeah,
like it was really wanting to blow up in your face.
yeah. And the funny thing is that one of my best friend through college was an absolutely raving socialist, and we had the most awful arguments to the point where we actually almost, lost the friendship. And yet, about 5 years after we left college, he called me and asked me if I would give up a weekend and help him in a local county council election. And I said, well, depends. And he says, don't worry, I'm standing as a conservative.
Wow.
So he did a
See?
full 180 as soon as he
Yes.
hit a job and started out in the real world. He grew up. Anyway, so the other person I like is the lady from Hawaii, and she also
Tulsi
was
Gabbard.
gathered in. Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard, and she was brought in by Trump. I'm not necessarily a fan of Elon Musk, and I'm very suspicious of his motives,
Indeed. Me as well.
um, and very suspicious of what he's really trying to achieve. However, he is obviously a very gifted and workaholic who, backs the right tech and is quite visionary and would be great to have working on the right side to cut expenditure levels and all that kind of stuff. And so in the end, for me, it was I couldn't vote for the other side. I mean, the other side, all they want to do is get rid of all the amendments. They want to get rid of your freedom of speech, the
Right. Right.
minority, open borders, destroy the country.
Yeah.
And frankly, I mean, I just can't understand how anybody could vote for that. It's like, what universe do you live in?
Yes. Yes.
You would vote for this nonsense. And
And
I mean, look, she lost, but there's only like 4 million vote difference. I mean, a lot of people voted for them,
yes. Yeah.
and
And
it
it's
makes you wonder,
shocking.
you know.
Yeah, I found it very shocking. I spent 36 years in San Francisco, and her crew, I watched that beautiful city go to absolute
Yeah,
fucking shit
yeah. I used to
because of
work for Sybase in
progressive leftist
Emeryville.
stuff. Free for everything,
Yeah,
sanctuary city, sanctuary
yeah,
state, and based on, all the isms, racism, sexism, whatever you want to call it. And, certainly when I started university, about the same time you did back in the 70s, the push for affirmative action, I just remember thinking, well, how perplexed is that? It was just so perplexing. It's like, oh, you're going to give people a head start that you think need a head start. Isn't that racist in and of itself? It's
yes,
inherently racist. So I just never fell for it.
yeah.
And then the push of a lot of my friends um, really coming to America as immigrants, escaping communism, and yet pushing communism. I was just like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. I
Well,
don't
it's like
understand
everybody
this.
living in California voting Democrat. The Democrats ruined the state, so they moved to Texas and continue to vote Democrat. I mean, what nonsense is this? You
Yes.
know?
It's really the whole sign of mental illness. And
Yeah.
I like how what I've witnessed, and you're absolutely right, the freedom of it, because I know when I was in the UK and watching all this craziness, because everywhere you go, there is a screen and it's blasting. You can't even avoid it. So here you are
Mm.
in pub and you're listening to the absolute shite, and you're listening to the sort of propaganda that is aligned with leftist woke ideology of the US, and you're like, how is this happening? And I'm thinking, I should have registered to vote, because I was really seeing the
Yeah.
systematic crushing of free speech, of how dare you have a different opinion or a different way of viewing things. And I saw the crushing of it. It was almost like, yeah, it was definitely chaos black magic, in my
Yes.
opinion, and
And
people
also
going absolutely insane.
it's like two different realities. They can't understand us and we can't understand them. Because to me, this isn't a touchy-feely universe. This
No,
is a dog-eat-dog universe. And okay, I can be charitable, I can be kind, but kindness starts at home. It starts with me, it starts with my family, it starts
yes,
with my, friends and family, and then concentric circles out. And this sort of globalized view of spending money on wars in Ukraine and liberating people in the Middle East. I'm sorry, but no, that's not how I want my money spent. I want the homeless taken care of
yes,
first. I want
yes,
good education. And I don't want my kids indoctrinated either. I want proper education. I want
right.
to live in a great environment. And then we can be charitable. But these people seem to think that there's no end to the amount of money that can be raised to be spent on others.
Right, right. And
And
it's manufactured money.
yeah,
It's
and they just a bit. Today's been a weird day because every time I put on Facebook or YouTube, it's been something about wokeness. Now, about 4 or 5 years ago, I started to fall out with various people in the sort of SOL community who had taken on this idea that woke ideology is where it's at because I'm being kind and I'm being, I'm helping diversity. And this comes from that sort of Christian idea of, offer the other cheek and self-sacrifice and all that. But the thing is in magic, it's all about balance, and you have to find the balance. And the
yes,
balance isn't being work. Work is not awakened. If you were
yeah,
awakened, you would understand that workism is without balance. It's an extreme, and it's an evil because any extreme is evil. There isn't good and evil. There's evil, balance, and evil.
yes,
It's
yes,
like cowardice, foolhardiness, and bravery, right?
right, right. And the over
So
charitableness of it is
yeah,
actually a dysfunction, because if
all
you
you've
don't have the
all you've
resource,
done is created a bunch of people that can't function if someone says something bad about them or perceived to be bad about them or
exactly.
challenges their point of view, they break down like little babies and cry in their dinner.
Yeah, yeah.
These people are not, they need mental help. I mean, sorry.
Indeed, they're completely infantilized, and
Yeah,
the incentive to remain infantilized is like
yeah.
amazing. Like the whole reparations movement on this, that, and the other thing. It's mind blowing. Like, what is this bullshit? And
And they
people
really do
want
live
it.
in a different world. I mean, my entire life, I'm working class Brit and I'm white. But I never really compartmentalized myself. I've never seen boundaries.
Mhm.
I've never treated someone else differently because of the color of the skin or the religion. I've
Yes,
certainly treated people differently because they're bloody thick. But
yes,
but they're stupid and can't understand certain things. But to me, it's just life, and you get on and you try to treat people civilly and try to treat respect where respect is due, and call it like it is and get on with it. And apparently, my lifestyle is offensive to 48% of Americans.
yes. My lifestyle is very offensive
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
I was in a group, and it wasn't a live group. I mean, it was live, but it was on Zoom. And I brought on four colleagues of mine. And then in the chat, the private chat, the host is going, "Why didn't you tell me they were people of color?" Like, it never occurred to me to tell
oh,
the hostess
oh,
the
Yeah.
color of someone's skin. It was like really bizarre.
Because we don't live in an identity politics world. We live
Exactly.
in a world filled with human beings.
Exactly.
We see humans. We don't see identities. We don't, because, you know, now it's not even as simple as that. It's not a visual identity. It's their imagined identity.
Yes. Yeah, the imagined identity. I identify as a mushroom. Okay,
Yeah.
this is very
Yeah.
good. And we're all supposed to tiptoe around that identity, change our lifestyles just to accommodate that
Well,
craziness.
here's the thing. I believe in live and let live. So, I mean, if you want to identify as a cat or you're a
Like,
man and you want to wear a dress and a bra and be a woman, carry on.
yeah,
I don't give a shit. But try to make me accept that or do the same.
yes,
Uh-uh, not happening.
yeah,
That's where it ends.
yeah,
Because now you're limiting my right to be me. And that's the point. It's
yes,
finding the balance, and there's no balance to them. And
yeah.
that's why what is it, this blue cloud or something? They've all gone over there and now they can't moderate it because they're all complaining about each other. They've all got hurt feelings.
Yeah, the hurt feelings, it's actually quite amazing. It's like, wow. So a lot of the times nowadays, and when I do my hikes, because I'm in the Southwest, the high mountains, high desert mountains
Yeah.
of the Southwest. So I do my walks very early because the wokeism here in my neighborhood is so unbelievably in your face right now. So I have a cat and it's not politicized or anything, but it says, fuck your feelings. And I actually had somebody get in my face at 6:30 in the morning. I have a headlamp because the sun's not quite up yet. And
Hmm.
this person is trying to get into some moral pissing match about how offensive my hat is. And I just told this guy, you need to move along, otherwise I'm going to mace your ass. I'm not kidding. And the guy was so upset about it. Like he wouldn't stop. And I'm walking away. I'm like 2 blocks away. I'm getting further, and he's still screaming at me. And this is that it's like the compulsion and the entitlement to rage, to have a fit, to have a tantrum that is not even befitting for a 3-year-old,
Yeah,
and
agreed.
to just wake up the whole neighborhood with
They have
your
no limits on their
injustice.
behavior. None. The limits have gone. They feel as if they can express themselves in any way they
Yes,
like, and it's our fault. But we're
yes,
not the ones behaving like 3-year-old imbeciles.
yes.
They are.
And that's
Yeah.
their free speech.
Yeah.
That's what they come back with.
Well, to come back to the topic, I mean, the fact that that Trump and crew won was for me not a surprise at all. I had expected it for several months, in fact, probably even 18 months,
Mhm.
because if you don't watch mainstream media and listen to idiotic celebrities who sold the soul to the devil and are now earning their keep,
Yes,
then you're watching alternative media and you're getting a sense for the pulse, right? And the pulse was
yes,
definitely going against work, going against globalism, going against war. But more importantly, it's all about the economy, stupid. And the
Mhm.
economy is in
Yes,
the tank. And so it was always going to be a change of administration, whatever they did. And so I wasn't surprised. I have a group of friends here. Most of the people I hang with do all think like me. Even people that you would surprise you, they look like aging hippies, but they think like we do because they've done the work, they've done the magic, and they know, that life isn't about feelings.
yes,
Life is about taking action
yes,
based on balance as well.
yes,
And I think we all feel that it's like a turning point, a breath of fresh air, and the spell is broken. The black magic is broken.
yes. I
People are beginning to
felt that.
see the reality now of what was going
Mhm.
on. And it
Yeah.
was all black magic. I mean, I think I wrote so many. You said I don't write about the same topic, but I think one of the topics I've written most about the last few years has been how black magic is being used in the media and so on to
Hmm.
manipulate opinion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think a lot of that
Spellcasting.
has been broken by this.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I felt the immediacy of it, because I wasn't paying attention to dates, and when you're traveling around, you're focusing in. At least I was focusing in on my traveling, and it was actually the first time in my entire life, Gary, traveling where I didn't work. I wasn't performing music. I wasn't speaking. I wasn't signing books. I wasn't teaching. I wasn't doing any work except enjoying the landscape of the UK, particularly Scotland, which I'm madly in love with, spending much time in in Orkney and
Mm.
visiting friends, visiting just my beloved Facebook friends that I have just been, just really, really bonded with and not paying attention. And then coming back to America after like a horrendous shit show in, various airports that I'm sure you know so much about as well. And then feeling this, like, what happened? Feeling this settled expanse that was like renewed, and I find out the election results, and it was just like, wow, just
Mm.
unreal, and just the spaciousness. And it seemed like, I mean, there were certain things in my life, without getting into it, that were just kind of like clenched and held up. And when I returned, all of that stuff that I was so worried about that involved insurance companies and, just all this kind of stuff sorted itself out without me doing a thing. And so that's been part of I think, the overflow of the reckoning and the reset and the return, the return from
Mm.
the underworld, the imposed underworld.
Well, the next battle is in Europe because you've got a very strong and rising populist movement in pretty much all European countries. And in places like Germany, they're trying to ban the parties, and in France, they're trying to, throw mud at the leader of the populist party.
Mhm.
And so it's not over, but even here, I think it's crumbling. I think Mr. Starmer's doing a tremendous job of helping that along by being a pompous communist globalist. I won't say what, but
Yes.
anti-working class, anti-humanity, anti-family, anti-morally dubious individual. Yeah. I
And
probably can't go back to the
and
UK now.
what's the consensus about that? I mean,
I don't know.
I
I don't live in the UK, but
yeah.
talking to people that do, and there's a one of those what's it called, petitions, right? In the
Hmm.
UK, they have this system where if a petition gets more than so many signatures, Parliament has to address it.
Right.
And so they raise these petitions about everything. There's a petition calling for a new general election based on the fact that Labour has reneged on all its promises. As of now, it's got 2.68 million signatures and rising. The man is the most unpopular prime minister there's ever been, and quite rightly so. He slapped the pensioners in the face, he slapped the workers in the face, he slapped the
Hmm.
farmers in the face. He's plainly in the pocket of BlackRock and the World Economic Forum. He's jailed 73-year-old grandmothers for making some comment on Facebook and released
Holy
rapists
shit.
and proper criminals in order to make room in the prisons to put them there.
Hmm.
We have more political prisoners in the UK right now than Russia does.
That's saying something.
Yeah. And, I'm glad I live in the Czech Republic because the interesting thing about the Czech Republic is that because it was once a communist country, there is at least a modicum of concern over what they're seeing happen in the West because they've seen it before.
Yes.
It was called the Soviet Union back
Yes.
then. Now it's the EU, and it's obviously a lot of damage is being done with young people. I mean, my daughter goes to school and talks to friends, and my daughter has a mind of her own and a brain of her own, and she thinks for herself. And she comes back sometimes extremely concerned about how frightened some of her friends are about so-called climate change.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I just tell her, you know, they really need to do some proper research into climate change, and they need to, what are they afraid of? Oh, the temperatures will rise and everybody will die. I said, okay, well, ask them this. Where do you go on vacation every summer? Turkey.
Mhm.
Okay, when you get to Turkey, how much hotter is it there than here? It's like 10 degrees hotter. Do you die? No. You enjoy yourself, you have fun, and you come back with a tan. So what the hell are you afraid of?
Well done. Yes.
And I'm a geologist,
Amazing.
and this means that I've got no time for CO2 as a driver of climate. I mean, it's just garbage, and it's pushed by idiots like Tyson, that so-called scientist that
Oh,
thinks
I
that science
cannot take
science
him.
is governed by consensus.
Yes.
Well, if that was so, we would all believe the world is flat because that was the consensus at one point in history. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's the trouble is we seem to have gotten into a situation where, if I may say so, total morons have been elevated
hmm
to positions of authority. They're
Yes.
so incompetent and so stupid.
Yeah.
And that remains a problem. That's why Elon and what's his name need to do a damn good job sorting out the bureaucracy.
I can't wait to see it happen. I am just so fascinated by it. As a
I
member,
realize some people are going to hate me for the things I'm saying tonight, but
no, they're not. They're they're not. And if they do, oh well, move
yeah,
along, move along, move along.
I
And
just
that's the whole thing. It's like you have to look at the actual math. Here in New Mexico, uh, I mean, Trump won. He didn't get the popular vote. And of course, with the electoral college in the main woke cities that are like heavy, heavy populated, you look at all the counties, it all went red. And I was
mm,
stunned. I was totally, totally stunned. And yet the attitude of the sort of wokeness in, say, my neighborhood, I live in it's a very nice neighborhood. I like it. I like the terrain. I don't like the people, and I didn't know about the people when I bought the house. So, it was all of a sudden shocking when, yeah, I'm being called Miss California, like it's something and it's ridiculous. And
mm.
then you see the sort of signs and the sort of slogans all about climate change and putting the authority onto the science, and I'm just like rolling my eyes thinking, oh dear, what have I done?
Well, I can understand why they believe, because they're inundated with misinformation from
Yes,
official sources.
absolutely.
There's a paper just come out that shows that, contrary to the ice caps melting away, they're actually growing, and this is a very well conducted scientific study over multiple years. But will that get reported in any of the media? No, because
No,
it's not relevant to the narrative.
no. Yeah, no.
And this is the problem, is that we live in a magical world, and most people do not understand that. They think magic is woo-woo, and even religion is suspect,
Of
right?
course, of course. And we're
But
all
we
going
live
to
in a
poop.
magical world, and the people that run this world, the people that really run this world, they are master magicians, and they work for the other side.
Yes.
There is no doubt in my mind that they work for the other side.
Yeah.
And they use magic to great effect. They use it in marketing, you use psychological techniques to
Yes.
bully people into different
They
positions.
know all of that.
They
They know
know
all
all
of
of the
that.
tricks.
Just
And
gonna
yet,
push the buttons.
they also know that there's a thing called natural law. And sooner or later, the pendulum will swing back and they will get annihilated because of
Yes.
what they've done.
Yeah.
And I think the pendulum just started swinging back.
I love it. I love it. I'm feeling the benefits of it.
Mm.
Really feeling the benefits of it, and funnily enough, when I learned about, and this is all happening at the dog park, believe it or not, you you notice things because I don't really follow mainstream media, and all these ladies that I knew who had gorgeous hair are now bald. So that shit actually is going on. The 4B movement, whatever. So no sex, no this. no babies, nothing. And I'm
Oh, from
thinking,
a man's perspective, that's great. They've identified themselves
yeah,
as
it's like, thank God,
men hating morons. And I don't,
it is
thank you for letting me know who
astonishing.
you are. Now I know to avoid you. And
Yes, it's
trust me, there's plenty of
astonishing.
women out there that are quite normal and nice. Yeah.
Yes. And they actually believe, and this is like bizarre to me, that they are going to go to concentration camps.
I know it's ridiculous.
Like, where do you get that? I don't
The
understand.
only, the only time we got close to concentration camps was under the people they seem to think are wonderful, who were about to put people like me in concentration. Well, they virtually did. I was locked in my house. I wasn't allowed to get my hair cut. That's why I grew my
Yes.
hair long,
Yeah,
because I
exactly.
wasn't vaccinated.
Yes.
And why wasn't I vaccinated? Because I did some thinking and I did some independent research, and I realized that these vaccines were not vaccines. They were gene therapies. They
Hmm.
had previously only been used with terminally ill people, and they were not effective. They were not likely to be effective. They picked the spike protein
Hmm.
and had all the cells in your body replicate the spike protein, thus turning them into targets for the body's own immune system. And there was no way on earth I was taking that poison. And look what a great decision that turned out to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you talk about dodging bullets, like literally a spray.
And
This
like Thomas said,
thing.
I would have died at my door. If they came to arrest me and forced me into that, I would have died at my door. I was not giving in to that,
Yeah.
not at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. It's the
And
things that
the face
we,
mask bullshit, I mean, God, periodically you see people wearing a face mask, and I have to, I think to myself, you must have, you must have, kahunas as big as fucking Mount Everest to be the only person still wearing a face mask. I mean, that takes real balls
yeah,
and
they're all over the place.
absolutely pointless because
Yes.
face masks do
Yeah.
nothing to help.
Yeah. And I still see it. I still see it. Just the other day, here is a cyclist. I'm at 7,000 feet elevation. There's a cyclist with a mask on a mountain bike. It's like,
Yeah.
fuck, just stop. Just stop. I really wanted
Yeah.
to throw rocks at him, but
Oh,
then
well, but
I have to
I mean,
check myself. Your body,
I
your
feel sorry for them. I mean, I feel sorry for them because they have been programmed by black magicians
Mhm.
into becoming
Yeah.
an agent for a narrative.
Hmm.
And they're no longer consciously contributing to reality co-creation. They're
Yes.
creating a reality for somebody else, like a slave or a robot.
Yes.
I feel sorry for them because
Yeah.
they need to but they're so full of fear that I mean
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is the thing, fear is the biggest emotion out there when it comes to controlling people.
Hmm.
Make them afraid and they'll do anything.
Yes.
And there's a lot of that going on right now over the conflict here in Ukraine. There's a lot of fear mongering going on, and it's really dangerous fear mongering because it
Yes.
actually, you start. My daughter's a bit worried, and I says, look, just ignore it. Don't give it any energy because if you give it energy, you're helping it along, and that's what they want. So
Yeah.
don't give it
Yeah.
energy. Just
Yeah.
ignore it and do something else.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and
Focus
don't take
in
sides.
on your
Yeah,
creativity. Focus in on the important things of
yeah,
of your life. And I know I get accused all the time of being just really kind of Pollyanna about a lot of things, and I'm not. I've seen some really horrific shit, but I've also learned over the years that if I focus in on that horrific shit, I am up a shitty creek. And
yeah,
it's not it, and it takes all of my wherewithal to really bring myself back to my true north and my true spiritual calling and
yeah,
not get sucked into that. And
yeah,
as a mentor of people who have been trafficked, who have been seriously abused and ritualized, because those are actual things. It is, I think it's my moral obligation to invite these people to let go of those narratives and all of their stuff and really focus in on the good that's available. Bring it all back to balance, because when you're that way off and you're
Yeah.
that immersed into the evil as victimized, when you disidentify with it, as you say, the pendulum swings back into balance and natural law takes place and you are restored. I think, and I've seen it in myself time and time again, restored to your natural divinity and your true creative nature.
Mm.
And what I'm noticing about all of the identitarianism, whether you identify with your trauma, your illness, that you're the black sheep, or that, Trump is Hitler, or whatever the hell it is, I've noticed that these people want to stay in a certain place. They want to identify with their autoimmune disorders. They want to identify with their poverty. They want to identify with belonging to this group that wants to hate Donald Trump and be
But you see,
in TDS.
the thing is I understand because it's so easy to do.
Absolutely. It
I
is
mean,
the easiest thing to do.
I think I've said this a few times, but I never ever worry about my business, and my business thrives. I just expect,
Mhm.
I
Yes.
expect
Yeah.
if I'm short of cash, I expect something to drop in my lap.
Yes.
And
Yes. It
on the
happens
other
to me
hand,
as well.
I'm single, and sometimes that upsets me and gets me worried because I'm getting older, and I'm thinking, gosh, I'm going to be single for the rest of my bloody life. And my daughter will say to me, "But Dad, you realize that you're sort of working against what you say, right? Because you're making it happen." And I'm like, "Oh my God, she's right. I'm doing it to myself." And that's me, someone who's spent the last 25, 30 years trying to be, trying to peel back the onion. And
Hmm.
yet I can so easily just slip into this self-fulfilling prophecy of misery, doom, and gloom.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if I can do that, everybody can do it.
Everybody can do it.
But getting through to people that, you're trapped into a narrative and you're not thinking for yourself, and you're creating somebody else's version of the future and not your own,
Yeah.
is really difficult. And it's also very difficult just because a lot of people, this whole narrative also pushes at religion and spirituality and says it's all woo-woo and garbage,
Yes.
hard science. And so it's like the ladies on television that I saw made a big thing out of I don't watch any of this stuff, but who is it does the big podcast, the boxer guy.
Oh. Oh,
And
yes.
they made a big thing out of him believing in dragons as if this
Oh
was
my
some
God. Yes. And they
terrible
were on
thing.
top of Joe
I
Rogan
believe in
about that.
dragons. Yeah, I believe in dragons
I
because I know
believe
what
in them.
dragons are. They're earth energies,
Yes.
and they definitely exist.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, he's put dragon believer on his
I know. I love how he
profile.
just trolls them right back. And that is the thing. I think that's the key, is to use that kind of comeback in comedy
Yeah,
to
yeah,
bring it back around and to
yeah.
just, I know that for myself, I have to be careful because the people that I work with, who come to me for either mentoring or who take my classes, some of them are really identified in their bullshit. And
Mm.
and I'm gonna just caveat this, kids, that if you're offended by what I'm saying and you think I'm talking about you, I am. I'm talking about you. I'm just gonna cop to it because I'm not gonna make bones about it simply because I'm not gonna blow sunshine up your ass. That is your deal. Okay. So when you disidentify, I'm gonna say it again, something magic happens because you're taking your mask off. You're taking the harnesses off, the ceiling off, so that your brilliance can actually come through. And I think that's what a lot of people forget. So when we can troll back at the fucking absurdity of conflating the magic of dragons with being a kook. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah,
dumb. And these
it
ladies
is.
are so full of shit. Like
Yeah.
I've never watched it, but I've seen enough like sound bites where I'm repulsed. I'm just repulsed. I mean, these are very unhappy women. And I wrote down on Facebook, they epitomize and embody the whole notion of vagina dentata, in the flesh, where you have these women that are so, and they just want to like come at you. And I'm just like, go away. I would be afraid as a man to go near that. And unfortunately, that's alive and well in the fake feminism and these
Mm,
very disenchanted, unhappy women who are aligned with the gynocracy, I mean, and what is the gynocracy? These are not women who are pro creativity, pro living. They just want to kill everything and be right.
mm.
So good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that. I just sometimes think I don't have much of a social life, and then other times I'm quite grateful.
Me as well. Me as well. And and I have a partner and we're just the same. We're both a little bit on the spectrum. We're both introverted and we come together, we have a good time, and then it's like, okay, I'm going home. I'm going to my own house. And I'm a writer, I'm a creator, musician. This is the thing, is that I need my solitude to
Mm,
do those things, to create, to
mm.
have a space to do that. And there's nothing wrong with it. And
No,
yet
no. Yeah.
it's looked down upon by a lot of people who unfortunately are not tapped in to their creative nature, to their spiritual nature. So the diversion of, being social constantly and, vaping, alcohol, I mean, the whole nine yards. I mean, I
Well,
I
I'm
can't
just
do it.
no. As I get older, I mean, I virtually do not drink. I quit smoking, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. I was,
For you.
a chain smoker, and I never really liked crowds. I was always more of a one-on-one, two-on-one sort of, social person. But these days, it's very rare that I miss going out because I get into nature and I do the dowsing and I discover wonderful
Mhm.
places and the magic. I have a van, a camper van, and the magic of just being in the country, in the forest, in a place of beauty and energy, and being connected to all of that. That's the feeling of human. That's when you know
Mhm.
you're human and
Yes.
you have your place on the planet as part of the sphere of life. You know, we have this sort of idea that we're top of the heap, and no, we're still just part of the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is why I get annoyed with environmentalists who have got the green narrative. They're not environmentalists, they're human superiorists.
Yes. Indeed.
Environmentalists
That's a good
are
way to put
people
it.
that work in the context of the planet and its energies and harmonize with it, not build bloody massive wind farms and solar farms and destroy the land. That's not environmentalism, that's something else.
Yes.
So, for me, that's what I would miss more than anything else is that ability to get into nature and be creative. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I like to write because writing allows me to express frustration or try to find humor in a situation.
Mhm.
Some people have, I know a lot of, especially ladies, have written to me that read my Substack and seem to greatly enjoy the Substack articles that I sometimes do about strange YouTube videos, which are usually, body painted women or naked cleaning or something, you know, because they say that I use certain expressions that fit the theme, like, there was one about camping, and she's wearing virtually nothing, and
Oh, I saw that.
she's bending over, and I wrote she's erecting a tent, and everybody found that very amusing because of my
Well, it's
choice of
very
word.
funny. She obviously doesn't do it and has not hit harsh weather conditions where it's
There's
like
a problem though,
freezing.
which is that I guess my eldest son would call it curating, setting up your YouTube so you get the see the things that you want through the algorithm. And of course, now my algorithm is completely screwy, so I get all this weird stuff being suggested to me.
Oh my God.
And I have to clean it out, because I'd hate someone coming around and they put YouTube and it's all, naked cleaning and body paint, and that's just me finding something to write about.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm sure you get hit on quite a lot through your Substack and through your YouTube.
No, 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 no,
Really? Huh.
no, no. But my ex-wife, she used to tell me that a woman could get naked in front of me and I wouldn't notice. And she's
Mm.
probably right.
Oh my God, you are funny. You are funny.
She said, she never really worried because I never noticed anybody flirting with me or anything like that. It just, for me, it doesn't happen, but maybe
Mhm.
it doesn't. I
Yeah,
just don't know.
yeah.
I'm afraid I need it to be really obvious.
Yes. Yes. Well, and that's the thing. I think if I were a man, just based on the sort of climate and the confusion and the sort of
Mhm.
the split with women, I mean, I know so many insane women. I mean, they are demented, they're tortured, they have not done their work, and then they're on these dating apps and they
Yeah.
have there's a neighbor that talks about how, yeah, I'm in revenge mode, I'm just going to change my and
Mm.
she's actually talking about
Yeah.
purposefully entrapping dudes, and I'm
Well, this has been
thinking,
another topic I've written about because I've got some personal experience of it, and in the Czech Republic, it's a little bit different to US. In the US, I would imagine it's a bit more extreme feminism and
oh
anti-male
yeah, totally
sentiment.
woke.
And
If you voted
yeah,
for Trump, fuck
yeah,
off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Here it's more here it's more, I think, understandable because in the communist era and the culture beyond, women would get married very young in the village to the dashing, handsome guy who would then, immediately impregnate them 4 times and basically leave them at home to look after the sprogs whilst he drank with his hunting buddies down the pub and chased anything with a skirt that moved. And then after 10 years, they'd get divorced and he would have nothing to do with her or the kids.
Mm.
And so, they're rightful, they're damaged, and you can understand why. Because that was the mentality, right? Maybe
Mhm,
still is to
mhm.
some degree. I mean, the looks I get when I tell people that, my 17-year-old daughter lives with me, not with her mother, and I look after her. I mean, they can't believe it because it's not something a Czech father of my age would normally do, right? So
Yes.
there's definitely a different culture here. But I've had situations where I saw a lady who spoke fluent English and seemed very nice, and we seemed to get along for coffee. She went on a spa break for a week. When she came back, I sent her a text and said, how about we go for a wine or something? And she said, well, I would, but it's not really worth it. So I'm like, what? Why,
What?
why is it not worth it?
Fuck?
She says, you're not going to marry me. So I
Wait,
said,
wait,
well,
wait, 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 wait,
I
wait,
was
wait.
looking for a
We're
second date,
already
not
there?
hand in marriage.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah. And the other one that was talking away to me, and then she realized that I wasn't Czech, and she told me she didn't date foreigners, she was a patriot,
Okay.
which
Good luck with that one. Does she know the history?
I don't know. But it's
Yeah.
it's yeah, the dating scene is I don't bother anymore, put it that way.
Yeah.
I,
No,
I
and
pulled my
that's
profile
what
off of all
happened.
the websites, and that's it. I'm
Yeah.
done.
That's
I
what
can't.
happened for me.
Yeah,
I gave up for 10 years,
yeah.
almost 10 years.
Just give them
And
up.
did 2 weeks on free dating apps, and they were just absolute shit show. I had a date show up. I mean, this is how woke New Mexico is. Show up for our date in a giant Jackie Brown wig, a form-fitting skirt, and size 17 slingback jeweled shoes. And I was like, and the only reason why I knew that was my date is the 5 o'clock shadow amidst the full on makeup and the, 2-inch eyelashes. I'm going, I think that's Roberto. And then just confronting him, like, if you told me you were going to come and drag, I would have been game for that. But this situation is not, and I showed him my phone, opened the app. This is not what I signed up for. And he slapped the phone out of my hand, which cracked the cover. And I'm thinking, what is that? Like, who
Yeah,
does that? Shows up as a woman.
yeah.
And this is a very manly man here, showing up in full on
Yeah,
drag.
I don't understand any of that stuff, I'm afraid.
So I stopped it, and I'm in the parking lot. I'm hitting my car, I'm looking for my blue Audi, and it's dark. And the guy behind me goes, "I think your car is that. My car is this." And I was hitting the wrong car. I was so bent. I'm like, what just
Yeah,
happened?
well, yeah, it would scare the shit out of you. I
Yeah.
mean, I would feel unsafe in
Yeah,
that sort
I
of scenario.
definitely deleted
Yeah,
all of that stuff
yeah,
and just gave up, and then had to get deported from Europa and come back to the US just before the COVID
incredible.
hit to meet my guy 12 hours after landing back in the
Cool.
US. So that's what it took. And then, the lockdown, we didn't lock down. We just stayed in, and we did our thing, and did not do what we were supposed to. I mean, it's like,
No, I didn't either.
gosh.
I still got out into the countryside, did my
Yep.
hikes and walks, and I just took off
Hmm.
the face mask. I pretended to wear it like down here sometimes to avoid getting into too much trouble. In fact, I was quite happy living that sort of life. And
Hmm.
one evening, one of my buddies called me and said, "Fancy a beer?" And I said, "Yeah, what, your place then?" And he said, "No, no, no, it's just outside the pub that
Yep.
you can drink."
Sit
I said,
outside.
"What?" And so I went there, and there was like 100 people all gathered in groups of two and three, all drinking beer served through what we call a hungry window, right? From a pub. And apparently this had been going on for months. And I said, "Well, what about the police?" There's some police there. Sure enough, there's some police officers also having a beer. So it seemed to me that because I
Lovely.
got
I like
locked
that.
into my own little
Hmm.
world,
Yeah.
I actually missed the fact that nobody was obeying this anyway. It was all going on,
Yeah.
just I didn't know about it. I was surprised
Yeah.
and
Yeah. How cool
pleasantly
is that?
surprised, actually, to
Yeah.
find out that this was a thing. The Czechs, the Czechs had done what they did during communism. They just pretended to go along with it, but found ways around it.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
that's what you do. I think that's
yeah.
what you do. And I think this is my problem with a lot of the truther communities, because it's very, very black and white. If you are a truth and freedom person for real, then you have this and this and this and this, and you're absolutely vegan, and you're absolutely da 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 da, and you adhere to this. Otherwise, you're not one of us. Well, good. I don't want to be one of y'all.
No,
Okay.
I don't want to be one of you either.
It just is so
And the vegan
crazy.
thing is one of the other ones that gets up my nose because I'm sorry, but we're carnivores and we're designed to eat meat, butter, and drink raw milk. And the food pyramid is all upside down, back to
Oh,
front and
it's
wrong.
fucked
That's
up.
why people are unhealthy.
Hmm.
Now, I will say this, and I said this to my eldest son whilst he was here last week visiting from Texas. When it comes to things like food, we are all individuals, and that's one of the problems is that we're treated like there's a cookie cut,
Yes.
an average person. Yeah, so okay, some people can't eat meat, some people can't eat vegetables, some people can't eat fish because we're all individuals. And so,
Yes.
again, it's common sense. You don't follow the crowd. You don't follow
Yes.
if it doesn't suit you. You have to use your own wits, your own
Yes.
common sense, and have
Yes.
critical ability to critically think.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the other thing is that we are all individuals.
Yeah.
We're not part of an identity.
Yeah.
We are all individuals, right? And to me, that's part of the battle that we're seeing is this idea of trying to group people into buckets and treat them a certain way because the color of the skin, the religion, or whatever.
Right. The
Sorry, yeah,
absoluteness
bullshit.
of doing no harm in natural law, and that
Yeah,
eating animals, you're doing harm. It's just, whatever. I've done it all. I've been vegan, I've been vegetarian, I've done carnivore. I eat whatever I feel like I want to eat in the moment.
Mm.
And everybody can piss off. If you don't like it, I don't know what to say.
Well, at the
I have
moment, whatever
nothing
I eat, I put weight on, so I'm doing something wrong.
to what's your favorite food? Let's get there. What's your favorite food?
Curry, a good
Ooh.
Indian, not hot, not like a
Mhm.
vindaloo, but a nice, tasty, spicy korma or a butter chicken
Oh, I'm with
with a
you.
nice garlic naan and a bit of
Okay,
saffron
yeah.
rice or something.
Oh, well, if you come to America, come over here. I make fantastic Indian food. It is like my favorite. And what you said, yes, the korma, the buttered curries, holy moly.
Yeah.
Mm,
At the moment, I've got a problem. I can't come to the US because I don't. My American passport ran out.
yeah.
So I've got a British passport as well, right? So I don't
Mhm.
really need it. But I want to go and see my kid, right? And I realize I'm going to have to go and spend a day in Prague at the American embassy and go through the palaver of getting a new passport because as a US citizen, I can't enter the United States with a foreign passport,
It's
right? It's
true.
illegal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, it's interesting how that goes. Wow.
Mm.
Well, that's something to like look forward to. Yeah.
Yeah,
How long
well, I
has it
haven't done
been?
much traveling. I haven't done much traveling since before COVID.
Hmm.
And I suddenly woke up one day and thought to myself, I've never been to Asia, and I'm not getting any younger, and maybe I should. So I got offered to talk at a conference in Singapore. So in February, I'm
Ooh,
going to Singapore for a week, which will be my first trip in that direction.
wow.
Thought, well, if I'm doing a long flight, I may as well double up and go to Texas and see my boy and
Okay, well, I'm
catch up
one
with some old
state
buddies.
away. I'm one
Yeah,
state
I know.
away.
Well, I used to work for an analyst firm that was based in Albuquerque, so
Okay. Yeah.
I know that part of the world quite well, actually.
Yeah. I know that, and I know
So,
the drive from here to Austin. He's in Austin? Yeah.
Austin, yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
When is Singapore?
February, late February, February 22nd, something
Ooh,
like that. Yeah,
nice. Nice.
yeah,
Yeah. Asia is a whole other world, and each country has its own thing.
yeah,
But I think it's important. I think it's important to go to many places, to live in different places so that
yeah.
you get
I do too.
really a full experience of what it is like to be in different
Yeah,
cultures.
absolutely. Could not agree more. I mean, I've only lived in US and now the Czech Republic, but I can tell you that even living in the United States for almost 20 years and visiting every state and really the US was more foreign to me than another European country, right? It was literally an alien environment. The people in the US think in a completely different way
Hmm.
and had completely different expectations to Europeans when I moved there. I mean, things
Hmm.
have changed, obviously.
Yes.
And so it took a complete round the calendar before I really started to get the lay of the land. Even the holidays, Thanksgiving, what the hell is all that about? I had no idea.
Yeah.
Um, you know, some of these holidays and going around the calendar, and then the second time around the calendar, things started to make more sense, and you get into the rhythm and you start to enjoy it. And because everybody thought I had a great accent, I was treated nicely, and I did extremely well. And yeah, the rest is history. So I really enjoyed it, and I met all kinds of different people from all over the world. I mean, I spent a lot of time in California, a lot of time in Florida, a lot of time in Texas, Louisiana, places like that. Traveled around a lot.
Hmm.
But then I
Yeah.
came here, and that was culture shock number two because yeah, you go from a country where you walk into a store and you're absolutely annoyed and trying to flap people away. No, I don't need your help. Thank you. Leave me alone. Get away.
Or they're
I,
hovering on top of you like
yeah.
you're going to
And then you
steal
come to the
something.
place like the Czech
Yes.
Republic, and it's like, excuse me, would somebody give me some help?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there is no customer service. They don't know what it is.
Yeah. And
And
in Turkey, they follow you around like I'm just like, are you
Yeah.
what are you trying to do? Are you going to rub up against me? What's happening? But
So
that's customer service.
yeah, here
It,
there isn't. I mean, the bank. I'm always telling them, if you want me to come in and train you executive management on customer service, I'd be happy to do it. And they look at me like I'm some kind of an idiot, but I mean it. They don't understand. I mean it. I could train. I have trained people on customer service. I could do it. They absolutely do not understand customer service at all. At all. I just ridiculous. Yeah.
oh my God, that's so funny. So,
Yeah.
what kind of new things are you into? What's on the horizon for you? I mean, there's this trip that's coming up
Yeah.
relatively soon. That's exciting. I'm excited for you.
Yeah. Well,
Singapore is beautiful.
I don't know. I've made a decision in the
Mhm.
last couple of weeks or so that I need to reverse the trend and get out there a bit more.
Okay,
So I just agreed to do Neil MacDonald's conference next year in the UK as well, talking about
cool,
bouncing the Templar line, and
cool.
I want to try and want to travel a bit more, and not. I've been stuck in the Czech Republic because there's so much here to do and so much dowsing work that still needs to be done. But I just suddenly realized, you get in a rut and occasionally you have to shake things up. And even though it's hard, you have to work at it. Yeah, life shouldn't be static. You need to shake things up and do
Yes.
some different things. So what I'm going to do, I don't quite know, but I do want to travel a bit more, do some different things, meet some new people, and probably try to get more people in the Czech Republic interested in dowsing,
Hmm.
which I have a problem because my Czech is not at all good, and so there's a language barrier. But I can't believe that people here wouldn't be interested in the stuff I'm doing. So I got to find a
Yeah,
challenge for me,
I would
find a
think they
way to
would.
connect here. Sorry?
Yeah, I would think
Yeah.
they would.
Yeah.
I would think they would.
And that's it really. I mean, I'm happy. I
Yeah,
probably am the happiest I've been in my entire life. I'm
that's
really happy.
awesome.
I don't really lack for anything that I need. I mean, even though I may complain about being single, I have a wonderful companion, Eva. We go dowsing together, and she's a great friend, and
That's wonderful. That is
nothing.
wonderful. Oh,
Yeah.
and don't you have a birthday coming up? I think you have a birthday coming up. Oh,
Well, about 3 months from now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I'll be 65. Can you believe it?
And dude, I turned 65 in Hawaii, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Spent it literally sitting on Dwarfy's stain. My partner was not impressed. He goes, "This is a fucking rock in the middle of fucking nowhere, and it's fucking freezing." And I'm like going, "What can I say? I love it."
Yeah, I'd like to get to meet some of the people that I've discovered on in the Facebook community that I'm now seem to be a part of, like yourself and Thomas and
Mhm.
Olivia and all these people.
Yes.
Sarah, it'd be nice to meet these people in real life. So looking for opportunities
Yeah, it's
to do
happening.
that.
It's happening. I miss Tomash again. I couldn't believe it. We were trying to like fit everything in and be in Glastonbury for that, but it just wasn't working out. And I have to say, I'm not a fan of England very much.
I, I'm
Not a
I'm
fan.
not either. I haven't lived there since
Yeah.
1992, and it's a foreign country
Hmm.
increasingly. But
I
I will meet Sarah. I'll meet Sarah. She's
Sweet.
doing Neil MacDonald's conference as well next year, so
Nice.
I'll definitely meet
Nice.
Sarah. Yeah,
Yay, Sarah. Yay. Yeah,
yeah,
I love Scotland. I love Scotland. And it's funny because when I was based in London, I was based in London between 2016 and just before COVID. And I couldn't get anybody to come meet me in London. No one wanted to come to London. Even the people in Bristol, they wouldn't come
yeah.
to London. I'm like going,
Uh,
okay. So, it
well,
just
talking
really
about
didn't.
Scotland, one of the best times of my life was the 6 weeks I spent on the island of Egg, which is a
Nice.
small island beneath the Isle of Skye on the west coast.
Hmm.
And that was when I was an undergraduate student doing my field mapping project.
Beautiful.
And I was there for 6 weeks, and for the first 4 weeks, I really didn't meet or talk to anybody. I was completely alone and living in tents and old caravans and things like this. And finally, the last 2 weeks, I got integrated into the population of the island. I was going out helping a guy pull lobster pots every morning. I was meeting with Mick the Potter for a smoke and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, I fell in love with that part of Scotland. I had some really magical experiences on the island as well. It
Mm,
was,
mm,
as you might when you're
beautiful. Yeah.
totally alone for an extended period of time,
Yeah.
start talking to sheep and things like that.
I had some wonderful experiences with sheep who actually like the communing, the eye-to-eye contact. I'll
Yeah,
send you a
yeah,
photo. I'll send you a photo. It was on Hawaii. Like my partner's going, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I'm like going, "I'm having a conversation, okay?" And he's like, "Okay, whatever you say." But it's such a beautiful thing. And that area that you're talking about in the Hebrides, it's like it's so amazing. Like
yeah.
I was just fascinated by it and just all the various looks and just the views, the
Yeah.
air. And for myself, I have a thing about birch trees. I mean, just the birch trees, just driving through them, that's all there is. Birch trees, Burkana.
A very beautiful part of the world. I still would like to go and redo that, spend some time in the Hebrides.
Well, you'll get to.
Yeah,
I'm looking at time here. How are you doing for time?
I'm all right for a couple more minutes. Yeah, no
Okay,
problem.
so let's go for a little bit more. And so I've always wanted to ask you about this
Right.
because raising children, and here you are, you have a daughter. What is that like? What is that like? Um, raising a teenager in it at this time in this world because I've raised teenagers and I know they can be bloody horrible, like horrifying, I hate you and you're the problem, and then it's schizophrenic because then the next day
Yeah.
all lovey-dovey. How is that for you?
Most of the time it's all right. Most of the time it's just fine because I try to, I mean, I don't know if she would agree with me, but I try to treat her, a certain level of respect and tolerance. And I try to support the things that she wants to do. I try to also talk to her about what I think are important things if she'll listen. And she's quite the rebel and has her own personal style, and she's quite bright. And she allows me to know her position at any all times, so she stays in touch. She honors the some of the bigger rules like time to come in and that sort of stuff. Sometimes she tells me things I'd rather not know.
Okay.
I've learned I've learned a lot. Um, because I had three boys and then a daughter, and I've learned a lot. Some of it that I probably would prefer that I hadn't, but
Mhm.
I have.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it can be a bit Jekyll and Hyde at times because they're going through all kinds of stuff that you don't really know about school and hormonal and all this kind of nonsense. But
Yeah. Yeah.
usually we work our way through it, and so far so good. I mean,
Yeah. That's cool.
I'm I'm pretty happy with her. Yeah, I mean, she's not a bad kid. She's good.
Yeah.
And my eldest son, and one of my twin boys was just here for a week, and everybody got along quite well. And it was nice to see him. My eldest kid is like 37, and Danny's like 17, so there's quite a gap, right? Two different
Yeah.
mothers, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And they like each other.
Oh yeah, they get along. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I've managed to raise quite tolerant people because even though I may, express displeasure at certain aspects of society, like I said, it's live and let live. I am a tolerant person.
Hmm. Hmm.
If you know, if you want to behave in a certain way and you're not bothering me, I don't care. Carry on, full speed ahead.
Yeah.
It's when you cross my path and tell me that I have to do something that limits my freedom and my individuality, I get pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's a good point. And
yeah.
I think if I remember correctly, your daughter was dabbling in entrepreneurship. Is
Oh
that
yeah,
true?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Because I
Yeah,
looked at it, I'm like going, I could see myself wearing that, you
yeah,
know?
she designed some clothes and things and ordered them from Turkey, somewhere like that. No, Pakistan.
Yeah.
She has a Shopify store, and yes, she has some money from Dad invested in that, and we're hoping we sell something.
Well, and that's a cool thing because, how else do you put
Well,
forth
yeah,
fruition?
my oldest son Paul, he said, Dad, yeah, you've sort of invested some money there. How do you feel about it? I said, well, look, given the amount of money and what she's learned in terms of building a Shopify store,
Yes.
learning about internet, learning about marketing, learning about design, dealing with vendors overseas, thinking about customs, shipping. I would have paid that in good money for courses just to but she's learned it herself. So to me,
Yes.
it's even if I never get my money back, it's a well spent investment because it's an investment in her future, right?
Hmm. Indeed.
And I don't at all want to come across like, the perfect parent or father. I often tell her, look, I'm sorry if I make a mistake. Nobody trained me how to be a father.
Yes.
I'm just kind of picking it up as I go along. And occasionally I do get it wrong.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's a sine wave.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, I'm quite happy. She has a couple of jobs. She just had an interview and got another job tonight. And
Sweet.
yeah, and she's doing well at school. She got good grades by and large. Just she's so untidy. Girls are so much more untidy than boys. My
You know,
goodness me.
it's really, really true. However, when I was young, no, I was a clean freak and a neat Nick. It's like it was the only thing in my life that I could control is how neat and how clean things were. My very
Yeah.
few things. But, I did have intervention in my 20s with my second husband who locked up all my cleaning supplies in a footlocker at a cocktail party that I was hosting and gave me a double martini and told me, "Why don't you enjoy your party?" in his Texas accent. So
Cool.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I mean my only complaints are things like, I go in the bathroom and well she leaves the lights on and she never puts the top back on the toothpaste so it goes hard and I hate that.
Yes, I know that one. I know that one. Well, Gary, it has been wonderful to reconnect with you.
Yeah,
It
likewise.
took so long, but I did take a
Oh, no problem.
hiatus. And yeah, I look forward to another conversation and perhaps when you get back from Singapore and your adventure.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the invitation is open to come and visit, have a place
yeah,
to
cool.
land.
If
And
I manage to get over there, I'll certainly let you know.
yeah, 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 yeah. Sounds really, really good. And thank you for your insights.
No problem.
I think it's
If I had
important.
any.
So a lot of people, just like in this distress, as they swirl around that pool of this mind control and the spell casting, that yay,
Well, I
finally,
think I think in closing, there's a lot of damage has been done
indeed.
by these black magicians in terms of you know creating mental instability in people.
Hmm.
And it's easy to get pissed at them. It's easy to be angry. It's easy to laugh at them. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, they're fellow humans, and
Yes.
if we can help them, then we can, we that's the best we can do. And my advice would be, try to break out the narrative and think for yourself a little bit, and you might discover that there's a whole different universe waiting for you to discover.
Yeah. Wonderful words. Thank you, my friend.
Problem.
All right,
Thank
my
you.
loves, we will have Gary's information in the show notes below. And that's it for today. And by the time we upload this, Thanksgiving, American style, will be complete. And everybody, blessings and love. Until next time, here's to love, truth, and beauty. Thank you.